That's a little better. Welcome back to Green Ivy Tarot. My name is Ivy, and in today's video we are doing the astrological walkthrough for June. Okie pokey then. So let's get into this. Let's talk about June, because this is wow. This is going to be a really intense month, not going to lie. We're in the middle of eclipse season. We've got a Mercury Retrograde on top of that. It's definitely going to be heavy and all over the place. Very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be intense month, guys. It's going to be a really intense month. Definitely a lot of purging, definitely a lot of things coming up. It's going to be a little all over the place. The beginning of the end of the month is going to kind of be the tail end of this, but remembering that eclipses, the energy of eclipses lasts 6 months, so this is something that's going to last us until at least until the next eclipse cycle in November, December. So, the retrograde is really being tied up with these eclipses. It's going to be an intense ride, guys. It's going to be an intense ride. I think we'll just get into it, guys. I think we'll just go into it. Excuse me. So, where do I start? Mercury will be retrograde the entire month. Going to be the entire month. There's going to be post shadow, and it's going to be in its post shadow until the first week of July. No, second week of July. I lie. Where does it there? So it'll be. It's the 30th, about the 7th of July. It'll be in its post shadow. So, we've got a lot of Mercury retrograde. Just kind of is what it is, guys. So we're going to start out the month anyway with Venus. So Venus is going to start our month off. It's going to ingress into Cancer, so it's going to move signs. It's been with the Gemini. It's been with the Gemini gang with Mercury retrograding, and the Sun, and what else has been in there? Yeah, just those three actually, I think, and the Node. That's the other thing that's in Gemini. And they're just kind of been hanging out in there, and so with all of this energy going on, and that's going to be pretty close to the node, isn't it? And with all of this energy going on, me noticing things now, Gemini's like, I'm kind of not my vibe. I'm kind of out. Like, I'm going. And so Venus is going to change signs into Cancer. It's not a bad sign for Venus. It's just Venus and Cancer. Because I'll explain this. As Mercury kind of goes retrograde, all the planets in Gemini, they're gonna turn. All the planets in Gemini, they're gonna turn to Mercury, who's now going retrograde, for answers. And I don't think Venus is going to like that. So she's just bouncing. She's going into Cancer. She's going to listen to the moon instead. Every 2.5 days, the moon changes signs. So, this is honestly not a bad thing to happen when Venus goes into Cancer. She's going to have a good time. She's just going to have a lot of good times doing different things every 2.5 days, right? So your likes are going to change depending on where the moon is. If it's in Virgo, you may decide that you're going to, for the next 2.5 days, you'll be like, I think I'm going to go on a diet. And then 2.5 days later, it changes signs into Libra, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go and find, I'm gonna go out and look at my new buddy, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna, it's like been 2.5 days. But you're still gonna go out, you're gonna go and mingle with people because you feel great. And then the moon's gonna change signs into Scorpio. And then you're gonna feel, I don't know, terrible. Or you're gonna dive into some sort of horror mystery thing, or, you know, it's just gonna depend. And then the sign's gonna go, and then the moon's gonna go to Sagittarius, and then all of a sudden you're excited about travel and other cultures and things like this. And so Venus is just gonna change our tastes for every couple of days, and so we're gonna be all over the, we're just gonna be a little more eclectic. It's until the end of the month, and then Venus is gonna change signs again. So I mean, it's not bad. Venus in Cancer is really not a bad thing. I see it as not a bad thing anyway. We're just gonna have lots of different experiences during this time. I think it's gonna be one of those things that's probably going to be really beneficial, especially with us kind of having a lot come up with this Mercury retrograde and eclipse season kind of dynamic, kind of duo going on, and everything's really intense. Emotions are coming up to be purged. We're meeting people from our childhood, we're meeting exes, we're meeting, all these people that are coming in to kind of help us kind of heal and purge and like get stuff out. And we're kind of like, what the hell? Right? Excuse me. And this is all leading, right? This is all leading towards the next excuse me, the next square between Saturn and Uranus. I think that happens, Saturn and Uranus. Yeah, that happens on the 15th. So this is kind of all like setting up for that, right? This is all setting up for that next Saturn-Uranus square. There we go. That'll do quite nicely. So the next thing, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to come back to it. Just so you're aware, because you're like, hey, I'm going to talk about that Saturn-Uranus square. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. I'm just going to get through these next two and then we'll get there. So talking about so moving on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the next eclipse. So the next eclipse actually is the Gemini new moon eclipse. Is the Saturn, oh my gosh, I'm all over the place, sorry guys. Is the Saturn, is the eclipse in Gemini. That eclipse is at 19 degrees. We've already had the other eclipse that was in Sagittarius at 3 degrees on the 26th of May. This one is the other end of that coin. So we definitely purged a lot at the end of May with that full moon eclipse in Sagittarius, especially in regards to where we want to go, who we want to be, where we see ourselves in the long term. This eclipse season is really bringing up that energy. The new moon is a little different, right? It's about what do we want for the next 6 months, and it's in Gemini. So it's in Gemini, where all of the retrograde stuff is happening right now with Mercury, and so this is really looking at us and going, okay, so this is what you've purged, cool. this is what we've brought up for you to kind of, you know, look at. Cool. So, what do you want for the next 6 months? In regards to childhood, in regards to childhood trauma you want to heal, in regards to um, just children in general. Um, uh, Gemini is very much about children. Ironically, you know, people don't really think about it, but it is. It's about our childhood. It's also about children. Um, we look at things to do with short local transport. We look at so you know, if you've been thinking about getting your license, this is a good new moon to go. Yeah, actually, I do want to go and get that, and that's going to kind of help cement things for that to kind of happen, like the circumstances for that to happen. Um, Also, things around communication, right? Yeah, okay, let's sort this out, right? I want to talk to this person, this person, this person, and I want to have, you know, I want to get over this trauma with this person, or I want to talk with this person, or I haven't seen that person in ages, right? Here. Again, this is a lot to do with the past and kind of clearing a lot of things, because I feel as though this massive like clear out is kind of preparing itself for that second square, right, between Saturn and Uranus. It's all about that Saturn Uranus square. And so because the last one at the end of the year, I think it's, yeah, the end of the year on on Christmas Eve, that one is really going to be the one that kind of is the, I don't want to say it cements us, because we can always change things, but it's going to be the more definitive kind of expression, I guess I want to say, um, going in there. And so we're purging a lot to prepare for these, you know, for these choices, for these decisions. And these eclipses are really helping us with that emotional, deep emotional purging here. You know, if you've already done the work, that's great. Like, honestly, that's fantastic. Like, this isn't really going to affect you that much. You may meet a few people that you haven't seen in a very long time. Like, oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever. And you have reunions with people, and it's like, great, and it's fantastic. And you're like, wow, Ivan's like talking about these eclipses like it's all big and scary. But you've done your work, right? You don't really need to worry about that. Things are falling away at this point to kind of like bring that in. Okay. So I'm recording this on what's this, the 12th. So today is the day of the full moon in Taurus here in New Zealand, where I live. And so this is the opening portal day, right? And I've had the last 2 days, I've had like terrible days where I've like things are just kind of been like falling off, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I've had to sit down and look at it and go, oh my god, I'm coming up to the portal for the eclipse. Okay, right, thank you, Spirit. Right? Because we're preparing, we're losing things, we're dropping things. Things are kind of like, you no longer need this on your journey. Goodbye, right? This is no longer necessary for your journey. Goodbye. And then new things come in to replace that. And so this has really been a very interesting time for me, as I've kind of been sitting here kind of experiencing things and then realizing it's all because we're coming into eclipse season. And this eclipse season is going to be really kind of important, I want to say, as we kind of purge a lot and we kind of let things go as the new kind of wants to start coming in. Yeah. And also remembering that we have Jupiter and Pisces during all of this as well. So, you know, this is going to be very interesting in regards to how we kind of, how do I explain this? how we kind of dealt with last year, right? Last year dealt us a really big blow. And so this is also about how we kind of dealt with the traumas that were brought up last year as well. Um, yeah, let's kind of, um, the 10th, right? Yeah. This eclipse in Gemini is really important, and only because I say that it's in Gemini, it's at 19 degrees. It's going to be really close to the node. In fact, I think it just misses the node. When is it? June the 10th. It's at 10 o'clock in the afternoon. So it would have just passed the node. It would have just passed the node. So, I mean, this is really intense energy. It makes it trying to set in a lot of like big like long-term questions here with this new moon in Gemini, with this new moon eclipse in Gemini. It definitely is going to be a really important day where you could be meeting a lot of people, where you could be meeting people, or circumstances kind of come in suddenly that have the potential to be cemented in for the next 6 months at least. As you kind of get a feel for it and you decide whether or not this is going to be your new normal, or your new kind of what you want for the next, however long, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years even. So on the 12th, Mars finally changes signs, right? Mars has kind of been hanging out in Cancer. It's been all over the place. It doesn't really like being in Cancer. It didn't really like that. But it changed every 2.5 days. It was not a happy sign, right? Not a happy planet, and not a very happy sign. So it's moved. It's gonna move now. It's gonna finally ingress into Leo. Um, it's gonna go into fire. It loves being on fire. Oh, thank God. Um, it's going to enjoy itself in Leo. Definitely feeling a little bit more empowered, freer, not bound in the deep watery depths that are Cancer, and it's going to go into the nice roaring fires of Leo. Right, I kind of consider like Leo to be like the what do you call them? Leo's kind of like the eternal flame almost, right? It's the flame that's kind of like at that nice constant toasty temperature. Whereas Sagittarius, being the mutable signs all over the place, and Aries is just trying to get the match going, right? It's trying to get that match struck. And so being in Leo, I mean, it's going to really love it there. The sun, I mean, it's going to love it there, but it's going to be talking to the sun, which is in Gemini, in this whole situation with the nodes, with the nodes and the eclipses and the retrogrades. So, I mean, a good thing and a bad thing. It's definitely going to be probably a lot more kind of action here, because it's finally going to be like it's finally going to be like on one kind of path again in Leo, which is really going to like. But talking to that sun Gemini, I mean, you know, it's really going to harken back to, we can have fun, but we also need to, you know, we need to do, how do I explain this? Like, you can have fun, but you need to make sure that you do work as well. Right? It can't be all fun and games all the time. Um, right, that duality comes back into the whole kind of situation because it's talking to the sun in Gemini, which is all about duality. And then, you know, later on in the month, it's gonna go into Cancer, and so now it's talking to the sun in Cancer. It's not really catching a break, but yeah, I mean, you know, what can you do? Um, it's not a bad place, to be honest. I kind of like this. I don't mind Mars being in Leo. It's bright, it's showy, but again, it's talking to the sun. So wherever the sun is kind of where it's talking to. So definitely a big emphasis on communication as it goes into Leo. Big emphasis on communication, and look at me as well. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And what I have to say, because it might be important for you. So, you know, kind of think of that energy and go, oh, okay, right. Right. Okay? Okay. Right. Let's look at the Saturn, and let's talk a little bit about the Saturn square Uranus. There's actually not that much I want to say about this. It's really all about cementing our choices. These are choice points that we come to, and we're kind of like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be? What choice do you want? This one or this one? Like, what's going on? And you're like, sitting going, yeah, I don't know, right? The cardinal signs, they made their choice in February, right? They're direct. They've already done it. They're like, oh yeah, I want that. Yeah, I understand that. I've been there, done that. This time, it's more about the mutable signs, right? They're kind of sitting there. They're like, oh, I don't know. Like in February, they're sitting there like, I still don't know why. And the fixed signs are like, I'm not changing. Don't be ridiculous. Well, now we're coming back to one of those choice points, and now the mutable signs are going, yeah, Cal, I think I've made my decision now. Okay, so what is it? And so you tell them what your choice point is. You know, this is what I want. This is, you know, where I see myself in 20 years. The fixed signs are still like, I'm not going to change, it'd be stupid. When we get to December, and we get to that last choice point in December, that's going to be very interesting, because we're going to get there, and it's going to look at everyone and go, so where are we again? And the cardinal signs are going to be sitting there going, yeah, I decided I want this, this, and this, but I told you back in February, remember? And it's going to be like, oh yes, that's right. You still want that? Yeah, of course I do. Okay, cool. Let's do that then. And then it's going to look at the mutable signs and go, so what do you guys want again? And you guys are going to be like, oh, well, I wasn't sure in February, but in June I decided I wanted this. And so it's going to look at you and go, okay, you still want that? And you know, the mutable signs are going to sit there and go, yeah, I still want that. And it's going to go, cool. Let's get that undergo. Let's get that going. Cool. Big green tick. And then it's gonna look at the fixed signs and go, so what do you guys want? You guys gonna change? Or what's going on? And the fixed sign's gonna go, no, how am I gonna change? Don't be stupid. Well, you need to change. No, I don't. Yes, you do. It's changing already. And so the fixed signs are going to be the signs that are going to be kicking, they're going to be dragged kicking and screaming into the new, into the change, right? They're not going to like the change, but the change has to happen. And so, whether they like it or not, the change will be coming in December, right? If they haven't made that decision by then. Um, and so this is, really the breakdown of how this kind of Saturn and Uranus square is going to be, right? It's that struggle between the old, which is Saturn, and the new, which is Uranus. Yeah, let's make that choice point. Let's choose the new, because the change is coming. We have to make that decision, though. So that's really what this square is about. It's those choice points between the old and the new. What's falling away from us that we need to let go of, and the change, the new opportunities that we need to embrace, right? And having to embrace that and let go of that so we can embrace that. Okay? Right, cool. Moving on. So, oh, cool. Yep. So I was talking about how Jupiter has been in Pisces during all this. And that's very true. I mean, it gets to 2 degrees, right? It's kind of dipping its toes in the waters of Pisces. Now it's going to retrograde. So on the 21st of June, this is the day of the solstice, it's going to retrograde in Pisces. And it's going to go back. It's going to transit back into Aquarius, and it's going to do that on the 29th of July. It's going to go back into Aquarius, and it's going to stay there until the rest of the year, until the 29th of December, and then it goes back into Pisces again for the rest of next year. I think it does it for the whole year. I'll tell you in a minute. It does it for the whole year. The whole year. The whole year? Well, not quite the whole year. It goes into Aries. For a little, we get another little teaser next year. It's going very quick right now, Jupiter. It's whizzing through the signs. Pisces this year, Aries next year. I think it does it in Taurus as well. Like, it's whizzing through the zodiac signs in less than a month. In less than 6 months. 5 months. It's really quick. I don't know what's going on in the sky right now. But it's just at a point right now. Jupiter's just at a point right now where it's whizzing through all of the signs. It's just going quick. It's not spending the traditional 12, it's not spending the traditional 12 months or so. It's kind of going backwards and forwards a little bit, so whatever. Just kind of giving us a bit of a taste, I feel, of what we can expect the next year. So, yeah, this Neptune and let's talk about this Jupiter and Pisces. This Jupiter and Pisces, right? This is, this can go one or two ways, right? We can feel like the drowned rat, where it's and I say drowned rat because it feels very much like the deep ocean, right? And Jupiter is very expansive, and it's going, it went from, it's in water right now. It's in the emotional depth. And what have we been doing this whole eclipse season, this whole Mercury retrograde? Purging our emotions. And so this, the first part of this retrograde is going to be like, wow, I just like purged all of those emotions. I was just like, wow, and I felt this because of this, and oh my gosh. And it's going to really help us to come to terms with what we've lost. It's going to come to terms with, it's going to help us come to terms with what we've kind of, let go of, what we've released, and kind of like be like, wow, I feel like a completely new person. And then it's going to go into Aquarius, and then retrograde in Aquarius for the rest of the year. But we'll get to that we'll get to that when we get to July. Okay, we'll get to the next. We'll get to that next month. But yeah, this first part of this retrograde is really going to be about the emotional depths. It's really going to be about the emotional depths, and how much we've kind of released, and how freeing that kind of is in regards to the emotions. The other part of Mercury in Mercury, the other part of Jupiter in Pisces is positive, right? Jupiter's a benefic. It loves to be in Pisces. It's classically it's the ruler of Pisces classically before we hit Neptune. It ruled Pisces along with Sagittarius, and so it loves being in those two signs. It loves to be there. Um, these are the signs where it kind of leaves. These are the two signs that they love to give. Be very. What's the word I'm looking for? Giving, right? They love to leave lots of gifts, lots of surprises. Um, in the case of being in Pisces, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of emotional gifts, a lot of gifts of emotional clarity, a lot of gifts of, really positive things. But when it retrogrades, it's kind of sitting there going, wow, did you like the gifts I left? You go, yeah, I did. I love those. Cool, that's just kind of a little bit of a taste of what I'm going to bring next year. You're going to be like, wow, cool, I can't wait for that. So yeah, I'm going to go backwards now. I'm going to go back into Aquarius. I'm going to go back into Aquarius. And I'll see you later. I'll be back. Okay, cool. And so this is really, this isn't a bad thing. This Jupiter in Pisces. Don't mind me. I just don't want this to go flat on me. The same day that this happens, the sun will go into Cancer as well. And so we get a change from the sun being in air, right? Being in that duality, that air, coming into Cancer, right? Home, family. And so, I'm very emotional as well. And so, it's going to feel... It's going to feel a little less intense as well, because that sun energy has really been with that Mercury in Gemini retrograde energy as well. It's going to be mingling there. And then it's finally going to go into Cancer, and it's going to be like, oh. So it's going to be another one of those moments that we had in the beginning of the month, because all of these signs are finally leaving Mercury behind and changing signs. And the sun in Cancer is, it's fine. It's fine. It's going to prefer it next month when it goes into its home sign, but it's fine in Cancer. It's not bad. I look forward to the sun in Cancer. Means it's coming out. It's my birthday season. So, sun in Cancer. I mean, it's not bad. A little emotional. Definitely more home orientated. Definitely more family orientated. But I mean, it's not too bad, to be honest. Those retrogrades and those eclipses, though, are really going to, I don't want to say put a dampener on things, but they're really going to not, they're really going to be a little what's the word I'm looking for? Over, I don't want to say like over the top. They're gonna be a little kind of not as overwhelming, I guess I want to say, because literally 2 days later on the 23rd, Mercury finally goes direct. It's finally gonna leave. It's finally going forward again. It's finally stopping. And so for the next 5 days, we wait as Mercury starts to gain speed. So it's going to be a little kind of bumpy for the next 5 days. And a lot happens in the next 5 days too, after Mercury goes direct. The post shadow is not going to end until about the 7th of July. So we're still going to have a little bit of that, you know, the dregs of that Mercury retrograde before it's finally fully going forward. Excuse me. Before it's fully going forward and we don't have to worry about it. But that Mercury retrograde definitely is going to teach us quite a lot. It's really going to show us a lot. It's really going to bring us a lot. It's really tied in with the eclipses, which is the next thing I want to talk about. Excuse me. Oh my god. No sooner than Mercury finally goes direct and closes kind of closes that part of the energy. We've got a full moon in Capricorn on the 25th at 3 degrees. This full moon in Capricorn is the closing, the closing of that kind of eclipse portal, I want to say. The full moon and the new moon in Taurus, which is happening today, is the opening portal for that eclipse season. The full moon in Capricorn is the closing portal for that. And so, you know, this is really going to be... It's going to be pretty, like... I don't want to say that this eclipse is... I don't want to say this full moon is going to be a little intense. But it's definitely something that is... Let me have a look. When's that moon? The full moon is at 6:41 in New Zealand Standard Time. It is... What have we got on that day? We've got a sextile with Jupiter and a trine with Uranus. There's that Uranus energy, that unexpected energy. Interesting. Yeah, this full moon is not too bad. It's definitely going to be asking us, right, full moons are about release, so this is really going to be that kind of like, you know, when you come home from work and you de-stress, it's going to almost be like that, right? It's going to be like that debrief. That's what I'm looking for, debrief. It's going to be that debrief, right, with what you've learned in the eclipses, and you're going to be like, sitting there in the moon, you know, the full moon's going to be like, cool, so what did you learn this eclipse season? You're like, oh my god, what didn't I learn? I'm so glad it's over. And they're like, yeah. So what did you learn? Oh, well, I learned this, and this. Cool. What'd you release? You know? And it's really going to be that debrief moment where you're able to go, wow, that all happened. It's at a really early degree. It's at 3 degrees. So, yeah, definitely a debrief moment there. Also looking at how the eclipse cycle has kind of changed you in some way as well. The next day, on the 26th, we have Neptune retrograding in Pisces. So, you know, Neptune's been in its sign. It's been there for the last, I don't know, couple of years. While actually, it's at 23 degrees. It's been there for a while now. It's going to retrograde 23 degrees Pisces. It's going to retrograde until the 2nd of December, where it goes directly at 20 degrees of Pisces. So it's going to go back 3 degrees and then go forward again. Just adding to that kind of retrograde energy. Again, this is one where it can kind of show us where we're being deluded. It can show us, you know, where our dreams where our dreams truly lie as well, right? What we truly, you know, what we truly are striving for, what our dreams truly are, not what our ego wants it to be, but what they really are from a more innocent standpoint, I guess is the word I want to use. So I mean, it's not bad. It does it for a long time. It does it every year. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Because we're like 40 minutes into this, and I'm like, oh my god. Finally, we have Venus. So Venus, again, I was talking about Venus. We talked about Venus to start this, and we're closing it off with Venus. So Venus is going into Leo. It's finally had enough of Cancer. It's been all over the place. It's feeling a little tired now. Oh my gosh, it's tired. Every 2.5 days, she's been on a shopping spree, and she needs to put her feet up now, right? Venus in Leo, great sign. It loves to be there. Look at me, I'm important. That's literally the energy of Venus and Leo. Look at me, I'm important. It's also really great for standing out, especially in a crowd, standing out in a crowd. It's great for people who need to public speak or anything like that. I mean, this is a great time, to be honest, with Venus in Leo, especially since, you know, we've gone through the retrogrades, we've gone through Mercury Retrograde, we've gone through the eclipse season. You know, Venus has been in Cancer, trying to keep us homebound and like in our covers and comfortable, and you know, some sort of comfortability, while it's kind of embracing new ideas and new experiences. And now we're finally, you know, that's all been cleared. You know, knowing that we've still got that energy for the next, you know, while, but it's, you know, it's over with, it's over the hill. Thank you. And now Venus is like, okay, let's get the show on the road, right? We've done all that emotional purging, we've done all that. Yeah, I'm feeling great. Like, look at me, like, let's go. And so it's just gonna be like a great time to socialize. It's gonna be a great time to get out there and do stuff. It's not bad at all. Like, very, very good. Very good energy. Not bad. So that's what I've got for June. That's literally it until... It's actually very interesting because that's it, and then July has like this massive space in the beginning of July. So everything kind of finishes the 27th of June, and then there's this big break until like the 10th of July, and then it all starts up again. So I'm just kind of looking at this, I'm like, okay. So there's this like this big patch in the sky where it's like, breather. And then it starts up again in all its glory. So, very interesting. But that's all I've got for June, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check me out on Instagram and Facebook. I will leave a link in the description below. But that is all I've got for this video. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.